Find f prime of x if f of x equals secant x over 1 plus tangent x. Now, I don't see anything nice we can do here to simplify things. There's no factoring or canceling that looks like it'll work nicely. So what we want to do is we want to use the quotient rule because this is in fact a quotient. So let's do that. We know that when we take the quotient rule, we've got that nice mnemonic to remember things. We've got low d high minus high d low. So the low function is 1 plus tangent x times d high. The derivative of secant x is secant x times tangent x. That's our low d high, minus high d low. The high function is secant x times the derivative of the low function. Well, the derivative of 1 is just 0. And then the derivative of tangent is secant squared. So we've got secant squared of x there, all over low squared, 1 plus tangent x. Quantity squared. Now here, it looks like we have a secant x in this first group, and then another secant x in the second group that can be factored out. It's going to be a little bit of algebraic manipulation, but let's see if we can do it. If we pull out a secant x from everything in the top, in the first bit, if we pull out the secant x, we're going to have 1 plus tangent x times tangent of x. So if we distribute that tangent x inside, 1 times tangent of x is tangent of x, plus tangent times tangent is tangent squared of x. And then we have minus, when we pull out this secant, we're still left with secant squared x. And then this is all over 1 plus tangent x, quantity squared. Now, there is just a little bit of simplifying we can do, but it involves a trigonometric identity. Let's recall that tangent squared of x plus 1 equals secant squared of x. And so if we look, we've got tangent squared minus secant squared. If we subtract secant squared from both sides of this equation to move this to the left, that will give us the tangent squared minus the secant squared. But to move the 1 to the other side, we're going to have to subtract 1. So if we subtract secant squared from both sides, that's going to put the secant squared on the left-hand side as a negative. And then to get rid of that 1, we subtract 1 from both sides, giving us a negative 1 on the right. And that tells us that this tangent squared minus secant squared has to be equal to negative 1. And so we can simplify this just a little bit. We've got secant of x times tangent of x minus 1. And then that's all over 1 plus tangent of x squared. And unfortunately, I think that is as simplified as the answer gets.